Welcome to Mental Health and You. I'm your host, Cynthia Timms, and I thank you so much for joining us for another episode of Mental Health and You. This show, as you know, is aimed to help to destigmatize mental wellness and mental health, particularly in communities of color where it's so needed. But thank you so much. And thank you so much. Today we're going to continue our conversation with Samuel Cabassa. Samuel Cabassa is a recovery peer advocate in New York City who is starting his own mobile hygiene unit in the Bronx and beyond. Now, we call this episode a peer support in the pandemic. Peer support in the pandemic, because we're in the middle of a pandemic and Samuel is a peer, as I am. So be that as it may, this idea, this mission, Samuel, that you're on now, of starting your own mobile hygiene unit in the Bronx and beyond. There's a couple words when I was thinking about this that comes to mind, particularly in these times. That's hope and inspiration. Peer support in the pandemic of hope and inspiration. Because, Sam, you are providing a lot of hope and you're providing a lot of inspiration to so many, including myself. So that's why I wanted to keep this conversation going, because I want to know what keeps you going and what is it that you're hoping to gain and hoping to accomplish in doing what you're doing.
Okay, thank you for those kind words, Cynthia, and hello to everybody out in the audience. It's a pleasure to be back for the third time, and I'm glad I'm back because there's been a lot of changes, and I would like to update information concerning the mobile hygiene unit. But to get to your question, what keeps me going is that I was lost within the prison system, and it took me, a lot of hard work to change my ways. And I really want to empower people in the community, and I want to empower the homeless, because it doesn't matter where you start. What matters is where you finish. And with the mobile hygiene unit, the words that you use, hope and inspiration, that's part of what this mobile hygiene unit brings to people. It brings hope, it restores dignity, it inspires people. And I also want to stress that the community has to be part of this. It can't just be myself and my staff and the hygiene unit. One part that I didn't mention that's a key part in the mobile hygiene program. First, let me state that I had to change the name to Mobile Community Shower and Wellness Services, because the previous acronym, which was Mobile Community Health and Hygiene Services, when I submitted my papers to get the 501c3 tax exemption, I was told that I would have to go to the Department of Health in order to use the word health and provide health services, and that would have elongated the process. So I had to resubmit the papers. They were just resubmitted yesterday, so now I'm going to have to wait an additional 14 to 30 days. But that gives me time to tighten up the program, to tighten up the website that I didn't have before. I was able to open up the business bank account. I'm signing the papers tomorrow, so I could start doing fundraising. People could start donating to the program, which is a huge part of the success of this program. But what I wanted to get to about the community is, I believe I expressed that I am a trainer of trainers for recovery coach and ethical considerations. So my goal is to do free training for the community. Anyone in the community who wants to become a recovery coach or who wants to become a certified recovery peer advocate. The reason I want to train people in the community is I want to empower them to be of service to the homeless. And if I can empower these individuals through training them to become recovery coaches and peer counselors, peer advocates, we can use volunteer services from the community to take the homeless to their medical appointments, to take them to their HRA appointments, to help them fill out applications for Medicaid, to help them go to the pharmacy, to help them just have some company. And so this is something that I didn't explain before, but I'm glad I have the opportunity to explain it now. And there's people in the community that have vehicles or that can do, transit, MTA, and take individuals to these various appointments. And that would help maintain, the individuals that are participating in the shower program to better themselves. Without the community, it would be tough for individuals that are participating to feel that they're part of the community. Because as I stated before, individuals that are suffering from co-occurring disorder, which is, substance abuse and alcohol combined with mental illness, they cannot present to these appointments on their own for the reason that they're caught in addiction and they're caught in their own mental health issues. So having someone to talk to helps them to feel like that they're worth, being a part of the community. Giving them a shower, giving them a haircut, giving them clean clothing allows them to re-socialize, because as I said...
Samuel, before you go any further, now for those one or two people in the audience who may not know what a peer advocate is, a peer specialist, why don't you explain what makes you a peer specialist?
All right.
And what are you training them to do?
Right. Okay. Thank you for asking that question. That's good for the audience. A recovery coach is, at one time, it was strictly a person that had lived experience with alcohol or substance use and or mental health. And you do a 30-hour certificate course, and you have a manual that has different aspects to recovery coaching. And so basically recovery coaching is to be able to help an individual that's struggling with alcohol, substance use, co-occurring disorder, through your lived experience to be able to identify the strengths and weaknesses of the individual.
Is it just, Samuel, but is it just alcohol? Is it just alcohol and substance abuse? What about the mental health aspect of it?
It's alcohol, substance use, mental health, gambling, any kind of addiction that a person is struggling with. And one thing that recovery coaches are taught is that you never direct a person to what treatment they should opt for. You provide resources, you guide them into making the determination on their own. One of the problems with trying to help people that are struggling with alcohol, substance use disorder is that people try and dictate, this is what you need to do. And the person struggling with these vices knows better than anyone else what they can and can't do. So you're there to support them. You're there to provide vital resources. to connect them to the resources, to explain to them the benefits of the resources, to support them where they're at. You meet them where they're at. You know, a person may say, okay, I want to go to an outpatient program, and they're still using, right? You don't try and tell them, oh, you're not going to make it because you're still using. You got to tell them, you know what? It's good that you're in there. Even though you're using, you'll be able to make it as long as you keep participating. You know,
now,
you'll learn the tools.
Samuel, is this all of these? Are these components of the unit now? Peer support, case management. I know they're a little different, but it's peer support, peer advocacy. Is this all parts of the components are going to be of the hygiene unit? Yes, I'll be doing it personally with my with my ex-co-worker who's going to be my staff now, named Daniel. We're going to be the two peers on site, and I'm going to do the case management part, which is introducing the program, getting the information of the individuals that are participating. And like peer support is really establishing a relationship so that you can build trust. And once you build trust with individuals that have no trust for anyone because everyone looks down on them, everyone makes them feel unworthy because of their lack of hygiene. They know that they don't smell good and people are going to be offended by their odor. So they get into like a shell. And so they accept services, but they don't open up to people right away. So what I want to do... Samuel, is this only going to be, not just homeless people have these issues? So is this going to be just for homeless, or this is for the community at whole? It's for the community, but we're concentrating on the homeless population. Okay. We're concentrating on those... We've had this conversation before. You don't have to be homeless to need these services. Right. So be that as it may, that's why I wanted to get some clarity there. Yeah. What is your target market? Who are you serving? Our target is the homeless, the veterans who are generally homeless, and individuals that are marginalized that do not have access to showers, to haircuts, to laundry services. As I had stated in the part 2, we're not equipped to help the whole community who has access to these services. We're targeting the homeless, which the veterans are part of that population. Yes. And we're targeting individuals that don't have a place to access clean clothes, to access laundry services, to access a haircut, and to access a square meal. So our population is basically the homeless population. Individuals that have a roof over their head, they have a shower, they have bathroom facilities. We're talking about people that are even in shelters that don't want to use the shower services in the shelter because they don't feel it's safe and they don't feel that it's clean. So those individuals are targeted in our program. But we can't, just take on the whole community because the program will just crumble. But we're not going to turn, if somebody came and wanted to use a shower, they don't have to be homeless. We're not going to say, oh, you're not homeless, you can't take a shower. But we're not going to try and throw a broad net over everybody, you know? And you are going to be a resource center, because perhaps if you can't help them, or if you cannot support them in a way that they can't support them, maybe in your resource database, you can refer them someplace else. Is that a possibility? Absolutely. That's why I said we won't turn anybody away that wants to use a shower, and then we'll give them resources or connect them to resources right on site, calling up the resources and saying, we have someone here who we believe can benefit from your program. They're highly motivated to participate in your program, and give them
the basic information and set up some kind of walk-in appointment or some appointment in the near future. And that's what we're about. We're about connecting the community to services that most people wouldn't know how to navigate on their own.
Wow, you're giving them hope and you're inspiring. And that's why I wanted to call this segment, this episode, Peer Support, Hope, and Inspiration. But this is providing, that's what we do as peer specialists. We provide hope, and hopefully we can be an inspiration. And right. Most certainly, that's what you're doing, particularly in these uncertain times, in the pandemic, right. Because truth be told, Samuel, a lot of our people you talk about, our base, we've been living in a pandemic for quite a while, right. We're talking about the pandemic within the pandemic, the pandemic of racism and homelessness and hopelessness, and right. hunger, right. not having a job, all of that can cause so much.
And discrimination.
Can cause so much depression. Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
So this the very idea, the very mission that you're on to provide these services. I mean, my goodness, I wish you so much luck. I know you're going to be great at it. I just know that you're going to be good at it because you're good at what you're doing. You're passionate. And that's what peer support calls on us, to be passionate and to be dedicated, because I believe that we all can do something, and tell me, be that as it may, that we all can do something. Yes, you wanted to say something.
We certainly can. And that's why I want to empower the community to become actively proactive, because one thing, there are tons of resources out there. You have detox facilities, you have rehab, residential rehab, you have a lot of things, but what you don't have is providing access to individuals that need it right in the community, right on the sidewalk where they're at.
Hello.
And individuals that get up every morning and all they think about is go on the panhandle so they can buy drugs, right? They're not concerned about brushing their teeth because they don't have a toothbrush and they don't have water to rinse their mouth with. They can't go to the bathroom. They can't go to the shower. Most people wake up in the morning and the first thing they do is grab their toothbrush, brush their teeth, throw water on their face. Some jump right in the shower. People that have a home have the ability to do this. The homeless don't. The homeless get up off of stone cold concrete to just go about finding money to get some liquor or beer so they could quell the withdrawal symptoms. And so what we need is to provide them with resources, access to showers, to bathroom services, to haircuts, so they could look presentable, so they could feel good, so they could have inspiration, so they could have hope, so we can restore their dignity, restore their respect, make them feel that they can change their life because they have these resources that they could depend on. And the resources are right there. If you tell a homeless person, look, if you go to 125th Street and you're on 25th Street, it's 100 blocks, you can get this, that, and the other. They're not going 100 blocks. But now if you tell them, look, if you go around the corner and there's a mobile hygiene unit and they're giving hot meals and they're giving haircuts and you're getting clean clothes and you can wash your own clothes, they're going to go around the corner. And
how are they going to find you? How are they going to find you? How are they going to know that you're around the corner? How are they going to know that you're up the block? Is there a website that they can go to?
Right.
A phone that they can call?
Yeah, the website is the Mobile Community Shower and Wellness Services.org. Mobile Community Shower and Wellness.org. And then we don't have the sites or the time, but you can see the picture of the shower trailer. You can see the laundry room. You can read our mission statement. You can read our vision statement. And it has the email and phone number, contact information. And if people continue to visit the website, every day we're adding more to it until we get it completed with all the necessary information. But it's unfortunate that I had to resubmit without using a medical mobile clinic. And I'm going to have to wait an additional 14 to 30 days before being able to say exactly where we're going to be at. But once all of that is taken care of, I'm going to pass out tons of flyers, business cards, contact, all the church organizations in Manhattan, Bronx, Brooklyn, Queens, Staten Island, Yonkers. We're going to have all the contact information. We're going to have the monthly schedule, where we're going to be located, at what time we're going to be located there. We're going to have a broader articulated scenario of our services. And individuals will be able to just go by that. And once they see us, we'll tell them on site when we're going to be there. We're going to hand out the flyers and the calendar. Right now, it's still like, basically a shell of a calendar schedule because, like I said, we don't know exactly where we're going to be located. But once we get the 501c3 status, then we can move full speed ahead and set up the calendar. But the website is the mcsws.org. mcsws.org, and it'll open up and explain, the mission statement, the vision. It'll show you the trailer, and I hope people go there because when you see what the shower trailer looks like, you'll be awed. And you see the laundry room that's attached to it, and
well, that's wonderful.
Yeah,
it's needed.
I didn't have that before.
Samuel, in these last few minutes that we have, and we're going to talk about this some more because I want to follow you as you go and develop this wonderful business plan, this vision that you have for our community, no matter where you come from, no matter what your background is. But in these last few minutes, it's been my experience, and even sometimes I think about it, in the midst of this that we're in, this uncertain times, this pandemic, so much is happening. People are losing their jobs, their homes, their hope.
Right.
What words of hope and inspiration can you provide to those who perhaps are looking to find that hope again? Looking, maybe they can't open up a mobile unit like you, but they want to be able to do something. They want to be able to get out of that, dare say, funk they're in, right. that maze of depression. Those who just want to do something, they may not, as I said, may not be able to have a mobile crisis, a mobile hygiene unit, or have a show that with this type of platform. And I'm so grateful for it. But what words of hope, people who are looking for something, looking for that drop of water in the desert, what words going forward can you give them?
Well, it's determined by what drives the person, what's their passion, because just to give you a brief example, right now when we see patients, we offer, whether they use opioids or not, we offer them a Narcan kit because if you're in a community where you're drinking and there's other people injecting heroin or using, benzodiazepines or, Xanax, which is a benzo, and they're at risk of overdose, we explain that you may be able to help somebody. And some of the patients say, listen, I can't even help myself. I can't help nobody. Some of them say, wow, yeah, man, that would make me feel so good to do. So people that really want to do something with their free time or do something that'll help them with their depression or anxiety should get a piece of paper and write down the things that would make them feel a sense of worth. And then you could do a Google search for organizations that are involved with certain activities, and you contact them and you offer to do volunteer work. I mean, there's so much happening out there, so many different organizations trying to help that can use volunteers. But it depends on what passion an individual has, because not everybody may want to do the work that we're doing, but they may be able to use their vehicle to drop somebody off at a doctor's appointment. You know, they may be able to make phone calls for the organization. You know, so people need to make a list of the things that they feel that they can do. They need to see how much time they have and what they can dedicate that time to, and find some program that they could connect to. They don't need to have a shower service. They may be able to raise funds. They may be able to go around and ask for donations of socks, underwears, feminine hygiene pads, and donate it to an organization. They can donate their time to churches. You know, when I go by my neighborhood, you know, I see different churches of different, you know, denominations giving out food, you know, giving out supplies. And they're always short of people, you know. But if a person doesn't have a passion, then they're really going to be, you know, left out in the cold, because if you can't connect to something, it's hard for you to find how to devote yourself to something meaningful.
Samuel, we're going to have to stop right there for now. But you said something of finding your passion. For me, that would give myself a purpose. That would give life purpose. Finding a reason to get up in the morning,
right,
even when you don't feel like it. But Samuel, we're going to have to come to an end for this portion of mental health and you, of hope and inspiration, I call it. And again, you are hope and you are inspiration to so many, including myself. And again, I want to thank all of those who tune in today. I wanted to say thank you. Continue to tune in, continue to support, and peace and love, everybody.